If you're coming to Canada, the money you spend as an individual, if you're single, is different from the money someone would spend if they're a couple and they have kids, and also the number of kids that you have. So I'm going to be sharing those figures with you. Hi everyone, hi lovelies, hi people. It's so exciting to be back on episode 3. So I'm excited to be back here, very much excited. We've done 2 episodes now and I think they've both aired. I am grateful for everyone who has watched and, communicated or connected with me on this journey. We're going to start getting into the nitty-gritties of the reason why this channel was created, which I said from the beginning was to just talk about money. The past 2 were just like intros. We're going to start today. It's because I'm a new immigrant. Yes, I'm really going to talk about my life as an immigrant as well. But of course, it's my financial life. Today, I'm going to start on a series that I titled The Money Stories of an Immigrant. At every point in your immigration journey, there's always going to be the aspect of money. A lot of people talk more about the visas, they talk about the exams. The 2 things I tell people that people don't talk enough about is about the cost of immigrating, as the financial cost of immigrating and the emotional cost of immigrating. Yes, there is an emotional angle. My God, moving abroad will test your patience. It will test your character. But you see that patience part, you cannot run away from it. Whether you got your visa, I've seen videos where people say, I got my PR in 3 months. Some people got their own in 2.5 years. So you can imagine the range of emotions they would have felt, but that's a topic for another day. I will start from the beginning of your immigration journey. So after you have made up your mind, like you saw in my last video, how we made up our minds to come. After you've made up your mind, oh my God, the next part is we had to check what routes. So the routes you use to immigrate to whatever country that you want to immigrate to will also determine the amount of money you're going to spend. For reference purposes, I'm going to be talking about Canada because I live in Canada. Or it's Canada. Yeah, it's Canada. When we wanted to move, the first cost that came to us in our research was the IELTS cost. Little did we know that there were other costs involved. Now, if you're coming to Canada, the money you spend as an individual, if you're single, is different from the money someone would spend if they're a couple and they have kids, and also the number of kids that you have. So I'm going to be sharing those figures with you, and I'll be, putting snippets about my own experience as in how we put money together and all that. Now, I'm going to drop this tip as well. Money strategies for any project you have is the same. There are many ways to go about it. The first thing is to actually determine the cost of whatever project you want to embark on. So we're going to call this project Jackpot. So how much is it going to cost? For me, the principles of funding whatever project are almost all the same, right? You've got to raise capital for your project. Go and check your accounts. How much is there? Creating an express entry profile is free. Nobody's going to charge you apart from your data. Nothing else. There are 2 things. I don't know which one you put first. I usually would say evaluate your result first before you pay for your IELTS. You went to a public school in Nigeria, public university in Nigeria. If you went to a private university, getting your transcripts is reasonably easier. So within a month, you should be done with the best evaluation and all that. So the cost of evaluating your results, the cost of requesting for your transcript from your school is part of your cost though. Yes. The first step is to evaluate your results, right? And it's usually done by a body called WES. Evaluating your credentials, your highest degree. Some people just evaluated their highest degree. So if it's a master's degree you have, you can just evaluate your master's degree. You don't have to evaluate your BSc. So that would cost you a whooping sum of $160. Now, if you're doing that with your spouse, that is a ×2, which is $320. If you think that your spouse needs to evaluate, you can save that $160. That's if you have all the high points, probably, you don't need that. You could think about saving that. And the reason I say do it first is because WES doesn't expire for 5 years. So even if you do it now, it will take till 2029 before it expires. Now, the next one is IELTS. For IELTS, the expiry date is 2 years. That's why it should be the next one. And of course, you have to start writing the exams and getting the scores, right? Now, for IELTS, the computer-based, for general and academic anyway, they're the same price, is $139,000. For the paper-based, it's $134,000. That 5K is something. I did the paper-based because I'm old school. We like paper. So I did the paper-based, but at the time, it was not 134. We did it when it was about 80K. 80K. I know that in February 2024, IELTS increased their prices again. I know they had increased it before and they increased their price again. The new price is 134,000. I don't see them increasing it anytime soon. But in case they do, you might just want to do a budget, an estimated budget of 150 per person. I'll advise that you and your spouse write this. But before you write it, because of the cost involved, please prepare very well. Do the past question test, go for classes, you look at YouTube videos. There are a lot of resources. So you don't write it more than once. If you write it more than once, you find yourself spending a lot more money. So for the permanent residence fee, there are two types of fee that you pay. The first one is the processing fee. That's the cost of processing your application. Then the next one is the right of permanent residence fee. The processing fee is $850 and the right of permanent residence fee is $515. So together you have $1,365 for the primary applicant. For the spouse is the same. So for you and your spouse, you're going to pay that money, the same amount of money. Then for each dependent child, you pay $230 per child. Now, depending on the number of your children, that will determine your cost. There's also the biometric fee per person, which is about 85 Canadian dollars. Everything I've just mentioned is in Canadian dollars, not US dollars. For a family is 170 Canadian dollars. When I mean family, 2 or more people. All these things are linked in the IRCC, are linked here, and it's just the IRCC website. You can just check it. The cocoa of the matter, which usually causes problem for people, is the proof of funds. My goodness. For one person, it's 13,757 Canadian dollars. For a family of 2, it will increase by about $4,000. So it's now 17,127. So if you're a newlywed couple and you don't have kids, this is just what you'll be looking for. Let's just put it at 18 million naira. Now for a family of 3, it's $21,055. As you increase the number of people in your family, there's an amount. Now the proof of fund, what is it, right? As you're moving to a new country, Canada's immigration system is so mature. They understand that you will not have money to fund your life. Meaning that because you don't have a job, most likely you don't have a job, and it takes a while for you to understand how your country works before you get a job. I got my first job like a month after we arrived, but I was so exhausted from the trip. Yes, I was exhausted from working in Nigeria, moving to Canada, settling down, that I couldn't take the job. I had to wait another 1 month, and then I got another job. So for those 2 months, my husband and I weren't working, and we had to depend on what we brought in to survive. So the proof of fund is not just a criteria for you to tick and meet. That money has to follow you to Canada if you know that you want to land and not have high blood pressure. Because yes, your first few days, first few weeks here, you will spend, your visits to shopping malls will be crazy, even if you bring all the food in front. So Canada has just done the estimate that should you not have a job for the first 6 months, should you have a means of livelihood, and you're just going to be depending on government support, you should also have your own. So by the time you calculate your cost of rent, let's use Winnipeg for an example. The average cost of rent in Winnipeg is about 1,516 for a 2-bedroom apartment right now. So you can do the math. If you don't have a job for 3 months, you need that 1,516 times 3. So that's where the proof of fund comes in. It's just money that it's like pocket, what we call pocket money. You have it in your hand that when you come, that's where you be spending from. So it's risky to just prove that you have the money in the bank and not bring it in and think that when you land, you just get a job. Canada is not that easy. That's the truth. You have to understand how recruitment works here and just learn how to do your CV. I had to even take some classes, and that will take some time. So the proof of fund is very important, especially if you're coming here with kids. Now, if you have friends and family in Canada who are willing to host you for some time, that also costs your cost reasonably. I'll be sharing that in my next video about your first few weeks here and how much you'll be spending. So you have to just find a way to get that proof of fund and have it in your account readily available for IRCC whenever you're submitting your document, because they confirm these things. I've heard stories of people giving fake bank statements. I don't know how they do it, but you hear a lot of things when you're in this immigration journey. Please do not do that. Your application can be cancelled and you'll be banned for 10 years or 8 years from coming to Canada. The proof of fund is something you have to save up. Just see it as an investment that will pay you back. So thank you. I think we've come to the end of today's episode. The next episode we're going to be talking about is the next thing. So I'll share the cost of my journey. So see you on a very next episode. Bye.